Sir, step away from the paint can. Okay, so somehow I found more ugly Mustangs on Facebook Marketplace. We're going to take a look into them. If you like this type of content, go ahead and subscribe down below. Let's get into it. Gee, I wonder if this car is a Mach 1. Okay, so starting off, we have a 2003 Ford Mustang Mach 1. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, I like the color. It is, what is this called? It's like grabber blue. The color isn't bad, but right now, what gives me just the hippie-jibbies? One thing I don't like is the fact that it's rolling on the 99 2000 Starfish wheels. What happened to the original wheels, especially at this price? $16,000 for 119,000 miles. If this car had the original wheels, I'd be like, If it had under 100,000 miles, I would for sure be interested. Let's just go through this. I actually kind of like that Terminator spoiler, but I really hate how they have this Mach 1 sticker right there. It's like, remove this. That's fine. Remove this. Has the carbon fiber hood, which I don't, not gonna lie, it doesn't look too bad, except I would definitely at least paint the outer sections right around here. I mean, the car doesn't look too bad. Interior wise, actually the interior is pretty clean. That's pretty interesting. Kind of starting off a little bit rough. I mean, obviously we have some wear and tear on the driver's side. Interior actually doesn't look too bad. What I think kind of sucks though is that if you look at the engine bay, you notice that there's a lot of little rinky-dink modifications. For example, they put on this little air filter right here on the valve cover. The reason why they do that is so they can eliminate the EGR valve and all that stuff. Like, look, if you have like a turbo drag car, or if you're pushing some serious high horsepower, yeah, this is valid. If you have what looks to be virtually a stock engine, what's the point? My guy, who are you fooling with 300 horsepower? I love Mach 1s. I mean, before I got my Roush, I was kind of hoping to find a Mach 1, and I've been sort of always wanting a Mach 1 for the longest time. The thing is, it's only 300 horsepower. Don't try so hard. Looking over here, the other thing I don't like is that it's missing parts. Like, whatever hose was right here, I can't really tell, but it looks like you might have that just capped off, so it's like, okay, you're selling this in California. I know getting a legal smug isn't cool, but also it's like $16,000. I expect this thing to be stock almost. Like, why do you have the breather valve here? What happened to the wheels? What happened to the stock spoiler? This is definitely on the line. And also, okay, here's the thing. If a person has to line up and say every little thing they've done with the car, that tells me one thing. They've beaten the hell out of it. I am a huge proponent of buy the most stock vehicle you can get. I'd rather buy a stock Mustang that a boomer owned than a car that I owned, to be honest. If I owned it, or someone like me owned it, and they said they did all these things, my thought says, erase this. It might be a little bit tired. I mean, it's cool that they have all these parts. Ooh, don't want to show that phone number. It's cool that they have all these parts, but it's like, okay, all this right here is just what came stock. I think that's the stock compression ratio. Let's see, the 355s, that was stock. It has SLP exhaust. Great. Brembo brakes might be worth something, but not for $16,000 for what looks to be kind of like you got tired of the car. Next. I love that the lead picture is this disgusting steering wheel. Would it kill you to get a bottle of Armor All? I mean, Armor All is terrible. Don't ever use Armor All, but would it kill you to get a little bit of a clean steering wheel? Because that means you don't wash your hands and you probably don't wipe your ass. So, we have another picture. Exterior looks kind of okay. It looks like he actually just curbed the car, so that's a lovely welcome picture. And hey, totally buy my $2,500 car, and here's jack stands visibly showing. It is on, looks like skinnies and slicks, so I mean, that's kind of cool if you're looking for a project car. If these are actually carbon fiber, which I doubt they are, no, those are just silver, that would be kind of cool. So it's like, okay, this could very well just be an off-the-road project car for $2,500. You sort of know what you're signing up for. Let's take a look down. Vehicle's paid off. Motor through a rod and I have a replacement. I'm divided. Honestly, folks, I am divided. Because on one hand, there's clearly been a lot of time put into this car. It has a tubular subframe, control arms. If that's worthwhile parts, aka if it's not just like off-the-rack American Muscle garbage, that probably won't be too bad of an idea if you're looking for a dedicated drag car. So I don't know. This is a lot of money for something that is going to sit in your garage. If you're really into drag racing, great, but if you're really into drag racing, why don't you get something else? That's the thing. If it's still just a 2-valve 4.6, like what's the point then? What's the point? Ooh, now this I'm divided on. Leave me down in the comments. Looking at this car, is this rice or is this nice? Is this trash or is this car cash? What I like about it is that if you notice right here, it has the target top. Okay, story time with Uncle Dane. Back in about the early 2000s, like about 2005 or 6, there was a company that used to make targa top conversion kits for the SN95 Mustang. They were like $500 a piece, they leaked terribly, but oh my god, do they not look amazing? It looks really dope with the targa top off. I've seen a couple that had the targa top on, and this generation clearly was not made to be targa topped because you have that beautiful long rubber just gasket on the side. But I have to admit, this looks pretty cool. I like the Terminator front end, I like the Terminator hood scoop, I actually like everything else. The stance is pretty terrible, that is a lot of wheel gap, but then again my car isn't any better. This actually isn't too bad. For $4,000 it's not too bad. What is too bad though is if reading through all this, custom targa top, no top, has to be made but ready to accept the top. So a custom targa top kit, which has been out of production for longer than most of you guys have been alive, like seriously, the last one I saw was maybe 2007, 2008, you have to make a targa top to fit this. So for $4,000, you could just spend an additional $2,000. The rest of the car looks great. I think the wheels it has on here, it says SVE wheels, or whatever it is. I think it's probably these silver guys right there. I don't know. This isn't the worst car, but that's a lot of money for a car that needs a lot of work, you know? I mean, under the hood, it looks fine. It looks very stock. That's cool. Just like with the Mach 1, what is with the breather valve, guys? This is clearly a stock 4.62 valve. You don't need to race car all the things. Come on, we could do better. Speaking of doing better, imagine that as your lead-in picture. Just kidding, this is what it is. Now, maybe from a quarter mile away this doesn't look too terrible. As you can tell, we are not a quarter mile away, we are looking right at the car. We can see that there is a bunch of holes at some point. This probably had some terrible cheap over fenders as one-piece headlights, which actually I don't mind. I love the new edge hood that they just plopped on top of it, because this is a very tired looking little car. Let's see, 95 Mustang convertible, manual transmission, car runs great, doesn't look great. I know it doesn't look great. It clearly has just been beat to hell and thrown with different mismatched parts on it. What I think is funny is tags expired 9/22, sold on a lien. So that means someone has a loan on this. Either A, there's a mechanic's lien and someone owes money and they just simply dipped from the shop that they dumped it at, or B, someone has a loan for a 1995 beat to hell Ford Mustang convertible. And the inside is, ugh. That leather has been, that cow probably died in the Clinton administration. That poor car. Like, it's cool that it's a convertible, but this is clearly a car that has been just driven to the depths there. Like, look how dirty it is on the inside. Yikes. This is probably something that someone is gonna buy, take to a slideshow, and just smack into a curb immediately. Let's be honest. Yeah, this is a sad car. I mean, the fact that, yeah, at some point they put a wide body kit on this, or they probably just put on really cheap fender extenders, and they didn't even really do a good job cutting it. That is a tough spill. That is a tough one to swallow for $2,500. Now, my favorite thing about these listings is when you get pictures just like this. Here's a screenshot of a picture. If you're taking a screenshot of the picture, just post the picture. As we can tell, this looks like a sad V6 Mustang sitting on generic AutoZone 20-inch rims. Oh, I love that they gave us two pictures, but for $155,000, let's see, clutch needs to be replaced or that the car's in great condition. I beg to differ. Yeah, those wheels are terrible. But if we want to talk terrible V6 base model Mustangs that are just not worth it, I've saved the best for last. Sir, step away from the paint can. $8,000 for this. Why? Okay, let's break this down because this is yikes. So we have the riciest taillights that were ever invented. Even during the Fast and the Furious era, these were not cool. These have never been cool. It's only been in like the past 2 years we started to get cool taillights for the new edge, but like outside of stock taillights, these never looked good. What looks horrendous though are these flames. So at some point they painted the hood of this car, and they put these, I doubt, these are probably vinyl decals, plastered those on the side with those taillights. This is terrible. Like, okay, I get that it's 80,000 miles for a V6, what is this, V6? Oh, it's a stick shift. It's interesting, I have been getting a lot of stick shifts recently, but also that does not justify an $8,000 price tag, because look, it's 80,000 miles for a new Edge Mustang. It's from 2004. It's a 19-year-old car. And the worst part is that it looks like that. I mean, it has the little stereo, it has stick shift, it has some very faded seats. These used to be you know, kind of like a blackish charcoal color, but now they're a wonderful purple because of sun fade. Thanks, Ford. This is just not very pretty. This is terrible. And it looks like they just got like a gallon of Armor All and just dumped it all over the intake to make it look nice. So it's a bone stock V6 Mustang. Like, if this is a $2,000 car, that's one thing, because $2,000 for an $80,000 for an 80,000 mile coupe, okay, fine. It's a little daily driver. Hopefully these are vinyl decals and you could just take these off. And you know, the rims, you could probably flip those pretty easily. The rest of the car doesn't actually look like it's in bad shape. Those taillights are terrible. I don't understand. What's the fascination with the Jumpman? I guess I know Michael Jordan is like still relevantly popular and stuff, but yeah, this car is ugly. And for $83,000, it is probably the worst car I've seen on sale in the past couple of days. Why are people like this? You know, I blame Barrett Jackson, honestly. I blame Barrett Jackson because it's like, oh, old car with under 100,000 miles, therefore it's a lot of money. It's some ooga booga math at this point. I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments? Is $8,000 worth, you know, an 80,000 mile V6 stick shift? Leave me a comment down below if this is worth the money. I'm just like, sir, stop. Please stop. Okay, so what do you guys think? Am I making a mountain out of a molehill? Am I being ridiculous with some of these accusations that some of these cars aren't worth their price? If you think so, leave me a comment down below. If you like this kind of gibberish, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. I will try and post one of these videos, like, say, regularly, you know, every so often, once in a blue moon, weekly at most. Like, if you disagree with me, just let me know down below. If there's other type of content you want me to ramble about, I'm here all week. Unfortunate. Okay, thanks, bye.